With so many game shows and reveals going on, I wanted to share some predictions that I have for the potential new Spyro title. Let's talk about it.
Whoa!
What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and I am back with a brand new video to kind of cover some educated predictions that could be coming for the Purple Lad. See, we're coming up to the Game Awards season, whether it's Summer Game Fest, whether it's Gamescom, Game Awards, and everything in between. We also got PAX West. There's a whole bunch of different showcases showing up where you could have games, have demos, get announced, get revealed. And I kind of wanted to come together and tell you of 4 potential changes that I'm predicting that may be coming to Spyro 4. Or at least that's what we're calling it, Spyro 4. As I've said numerous times, it may not be called Spyro 4 anymore, but we're calling it that until it's revealed. Prediction 1. So we're going to start with the first point. Number 1, it will probably be multi-platform. Now, people have been very concerned about this ever since we've heard about the actual Xbox acquisition, is Spyro going to be exclusive to Xbox? And last year, I would have said, no, absolutely not. 99% sure it's going to be multi-platform. Then the new president came in, Ansha, and she kind of has been really pushing the concept of there being more exclusive content and trying to revitalize the Xbox platform. So a lot of people have been wondering, hey, CGE, do you think that Spyro may now be Xbox exclusive? Most likely not. As you can hear, I'm not as confident. See, last year I would have thought I would have been 99% certain. This year I'm now more like 80%. It's, it's still pretty good, but hey, it's not as certain as before. And the reason why is because, well, the project went into development while under Phil Spencer. So the likelihood is that from the beginning, they kind of already knew what consoles that they were going to produce it for and allocated resources for the game to be able to be multi-platform. But also, Phil Spencer, when he was in power, was the most the console agnostic you could possibly be when it comes to being a CEO. I mean, he wanted Xbox games everywhere. There was even rumors at some point where they wanted to bring Game Pass to both PlayStation and Nintendo. I don't think that's happening anymore, but I digress. The point is that under Phil Spencer, it was a complete and total console like freedom. But the other thing is that, well, Xbox likes money, and I'm not going to lie to you, Spyro is a PlayStation icon. Now, if I recall, if you look at the sales spread between PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, it was like 75% PlayStation, 10% Switch, and then the rest all in one. And it was kind of wild to see. And I don't think Xbox is going to think that Spyro will ship enough consoles to be able to revitalize the platform. While Spyro is a fantastic game, and I'm sure that there would be plenty of people who would line up to buy an Xbox to actually play Spyro exclusively, I don't think they're going to do that. And again, it would be really dumb because they'd be losing a lot of money. Having said that though, one thing that I predict in terms of the Xbox side of things is preferential treatment in terms of demos. Whether there's going to be skins, whether there's going to be sales, what have you, I do believe that Xbox may get some exclusivity outside of PlayStation because of it being owned by Xbox. I don't know how far that will go, but I do think that that is a big potential possibility, and I would even push even likelihood. Prediction 2. The next thing that I predict is the design will most likely stay the same and or similar. Now, part of the reason why I believe that is that a bunch of new merch has recently been announced and released for Spyro, and all the renders that they are using is the reignited trilogy design. Now, here's the thing, is that if the marketing material that's coming out before the alleged announcement of the game is still looking very similar or exact to the reignited model, it's either going to be the exact same model or it's going to be adjusted, but it's such a minor adjustment that the reignited model is still similar enough to be on par with the marketing beats that they have for the game. So I wouldn't be too worried. If you're a big fan of the reignited design, don't worry. I don't think they're going to be changing it too much. If they do make any adjustments, it may be, oh, maybe he's a little thinner, or oh, maybe his color is adjusted. But by and large, I think what they are going to do though is adjust the model just a little bit, just enough for a diehard fan to be able to recognize and be like, oh, that's the Spyro 4 model, and be able to tell the difference. But I think that would be basically the limitations. Also, there may be like clothing that they might add. There's a very popular design and plenty of fan art that was designed by Nick Cole of Spyro with some goggles and like a scarf and all these other really cool details. We might see Spyro with some additional headwear in that sense, but beyond that, I don't think Spyro's design is going to be any different. If it is, it'll only be minor adjustments, just enough for you to recognize it to be from Spyro 4 or whatever it will be called. Prediction 3. The next thing I predict is that it should be released by the end of 2026 with an asterisk. Yep, that soon. Now, I am going into this, and I want to state this, this is the most uncertain of all my predictions that I have. But due to previous history that we've talked about extensively, both before and after the Xbox acquisition, Activision really likes the shorter, hot marketing cycles. And I actually made a chart in the past explaining this, showing that Activision really prefers the 4 to 6 month advertising cycle. And we saw this before the acquisition, but we also saw this even after the Xbox acquisition with Tony Hawk 3+4, because it essentially followed the exact same pattern. It was teased with a trailer back in March and then released in July. Again, it's maintaining that short and sweet but hyper hot advertising cycle. Having said that, delays are definitely possible, so that's why I put the asterisks at the top of this whole section, because unfortunately, with how gaming is nowadays, games get delayed a lot. And if you were to look at Activision's history, guess which game was the only game that was delayed by a significant margin? Spyro Reignited, and it was delayed by about 2 months. So it's possible that if they delay the game, if there is any delays, it may get pushed into 2027. Having said that, I think their plans is to have it released at least by year end. I'm thinking around October 2026, but that's just me. And again, this is my most uncertain prediction. Prediction 4. Finally, last, and what I think is probably the most important and biggest prediction of all is, it won't be a quote-unquote by-the-numbers Spyro game. Now, you might see this and you might not understand what I'm saying here. What do I mean by a by-the-numbers game? Well, let me rewind back to Crash Bandicoot 4. The way that Crash 4 was designed, Toys for Bob looked at how Naughty Dog designed 1, 2, and 3, and then in their mind's eye, they said, hey, what if this continued? What if Naughty Dog made Crash Bandicoot 4? And then, of course, they put their own twist on it. And that was what they had in mind. And so there was definitely a by-the-numbers aspect where, yes, this is very much a Crash Bandicoot game inspired by the original trilogy and not taking much out of the games that came after it. However, I don't think Toys for Bob is going to be actually following the same methodology in terms of Spyro. We're like, oh, if Insomniac made a Spyro 4, what would it look like? Because this is evidenced by the plenty of job openings that they've had with a whole slew of different job titles like quest designer, combat designer. There is even some jobs that have mentioned inventory and just general RPG themes. And overall, I don't think that this is going to be a by-the-numbers Spyro game. Now, don't panic. It will still be Spyro at its core, but most likely more expanded and a lot more experimental than maybe some people thought that Crash Bandicoot 4 was. This might be something that might feel a little bit different from the original core fans, but not so weird that it would alienate them. At least that's what I hope, and that's what I predict Toys for Bob is going for. And again, the thing is that some of you may be upset about this not being a by-the-numbers Spyro game, but here's the thing. This is going to be Toys for Bob's first game as an indie developer, and I'm predicting with about 3 years of development, Toys for Bob is going to be swinging for the fences on this game. They were able to make Spyro Reignited in about a year and change. Now imagine what can happen in 3. I think they're going to be pushing hard to be able to create a game that is going to be memorable and make their own mark in history and in the history of the Spyro franchise. Now, we're coming up soon to some game shows and we'll be streaming most likely all of them. So if you want to stay tuned and watch all those streams with us, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more Spyro and Crash Bandicoot news. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Bye-bye!